Have you ever felt the house feels bigger when you're alone? And the silence feels longer than usual? Wait a minute. What if living alone is not the end of happiness, but the beginning of a new way to find it? Many people think old age is about loss, losing busyness, losing the crowd, losing roles. But what if old age is actually about rediscovering yourself, finding serenity, finding small meanings, finding simple joys? Imagine waking up in the morning with one small goal. Just one. A small goal. Every day. Imagine walking slowly in the morning sun, feeling the fresh air, and saying to yourself, I'm still here. Imagine one warm phone call, one simple message, one smile. The little things, but small things done with heart can change the mood of the soul. Living alone doesn't mean living without light. You still have stories. You still have experiences. You still have something to share. And when you share, your heart feels alive again. This video isn't about being young again. It's about being at peace. It's about being strong in a gentle way. It's about finding meaning at a ripe old age. Because happiness doesn't always come from crowds. Sometimes it comes from small, everyday realizations. If you want to know how simple steps can keep your heart warm, then this journey is for you. Age is no barrier. Loneliness is not the end. And your story isn't over yet. This small journey begins now. If you're old and living alone, don't ignore these 5 things, or loneliness will destroy you. Have you ever sat in your favorite chair, with a warm cup of tea in your hand, and suddenly realized that the loudest sound in the house was the clock on the wall? The house is the same. The walls are the same. The photos on the table are still smiling as before. But the atmosphere is different. As you get older and live alone, the silence can feel heavier than a large suitcase at the airport. Loneliness isn't a big storm. It doesn't knock loudly. It comes slowly, like a thin mist in the morning. And if you let it, that mist can obscure the light. But listen to this quietly. Living alone isn't the end of the story. It's just a new chapter, and a new chapter can always be written beautifully. Today, we'll begin a small journey, not a long journey. Not a big change, just simple steps to do every day. Before we dive in, if this message resonates with you, please support this channel by subscribing and liking. Your support helps this message reach more hearts around the world. Thank you for being part of a community that empowers one another. Now, let's start slowly. Imagine life like a small garden. It doesn't have to be a huge, palace-like garden. Just a small garden with one tree, a few flowers, and a wooden bench. If the garden isn't tended, weeds will grow. Not because the garden is bad, but because nature always fills empty spaces. The same is true of our minds. If we wake up without a purpose, loneliness will fill that space. Goals don't have to be big. They don't have to be spectacular. Goals can be as simple as opening the window and letting in the morning air, making the bed neatly, writing a single sentence in a journal, sending a short message to someone. Small, simple, but meaningful. Imagine an old woman waking up in the morning. He said, "Today I'm going to tend to my little plant." He watered it. He touched the leaves. He saw the sunlight reflecting off its surface. For those 5 minutes, he didn't feel alone. He felt needed. A small goal is like lighting a candle in a dark room. The light isn't big, but it's enough to see the way. A small goal, every day. Because life isn't about how much you accomplish today. It's about whether today has a direction. Your body has been with you for decades. It's come a long way. It's worked hard. It's carried you through the summers and winters of life. Maybe its pace isn't as fast as it used to be. Maybe its knees creak a little. Maybe it takes a second longer to get up from a chair. That's not weakness. It's a sign of a long journey. Imagine your body like a beautiful classic car. Classic cars don't sit in the garage forever. They need to be started. They need to be driven slowly. If left too long, they rust. When used gently, it still shines. Gentle movement every day is a form of self-respect. It doesn't have to be a marathon. It doesn't have to be a strenuous workout. Just a slow 10-minute walk. Just moving your arms and shoulders. Just standing and stretching. Those small movements are like opening a window to the soul. And sometimes, we don't feel like moving. That's normal. But often, motivation doesn't come until we move. Motivation comes after we start moving. So don't wait for a big boost. Start small. The passion will follow. Living alone doesn't mean living meaningless. Sometimes the modern world makes us feel small. But don't forget, you've lived decades. You've learned. You've loved. You've survived. That's no small thing. Loneliness weakens when we fill our days with small, mindful actions. Not with crowds. Not with noise. But with meaning. Wake up with a small purpose every day. Treat your body like an old friend. Simple things. But simple doesn't mean weak. Simple is the foundation. Imagine a sturdy house. It stands not because of fancy decorations, but because of its strong foundation. Small goals are the foundation. Light movements are the foundation. And a strong foundation makes the heart more stable. Loneliness doesn't disappear overnight, but it slowly weakens. When our days have direction, remember this well. You may live alone, but you are not alone on this journey. There is still tomorrow. There is still morning light. There is still the opportunity to give meaning to time. And your time is still precious. And tonight, before you go to bed, tenderly tell yourself, today I am still growing. Next, we'll discuss something important that often seems small, but has great power to keep the heart warm. Imagine a house in winter. The house is strong. The walls are sturdy. The roof is intact. But without a small fire in the fireplace, the room feels cold. So it is with life. The body can be healthy. The day can go on normally. But without the warmth of relationships and gratitude, the heart can feel empty. And we're talking about that small fire. A fire that's not big, but enough to warm the soul. Humans are like trees in a forest. A single tree can stand alone. But underground, its roots are interconnected. We may live alone. But we were not created to be disconnected. Connection doesn't have to be crowded. It doesn't have to be many friends. It doesn't have to be a big party. Sometimes just one person is enough. One old friend. One neighbor. One family member. Even one small online community. Imagine this. An elderly man sits in his chair. He hesitates to pick up the phone. He hasn't called his old friend in a while. He thinks. Maybe he's busy. Maybe I'm bothering you. But finally, he presses the call button. And the voice on the other end says, I'm so glad you called. The conversation may only last 10 minutes, but its effects can be felt throughout the day. Connections are like small bridges over rivers. Without bridges, we feel separated. With bridges, we feel connected. If it's hard to call, send a simple message. If it's hard to meet, simply smile at a neighbor on your morning walk. Small connections, but consistent. Loneliness grows in isolation. Warmth grows in connection. It doesn't take much. Just one real connection. Now imagine life like the sky. Sometimes there are clouds. Sometimes it rains. Sometimes it's windy. But the sun is always there, even when it's covered by clouds. Gratitude is how we remember that sun. That doesn't mean life is always easy. It doesn't mean we ignore sadness, but we choose to see the small light amidst the clouds. Every night before bed, ask yourself, what's one small good thing today? Maybe it's a warm cup of coffee. Maybe it's a smile from a stranger. Maybe it's a body that can still walk. Maybe it's eyes that can still see the sunset. It's small things. But when we accumulate those small things every day, we are building a habit of happiness. Imagine you have a clear glass jar. Every night, you put a small piece of paper in it with one thing you're grateful for. After a month, the jar is full, so is your heart. At first it feels small, but over time, it feels full. Gratitude isn't about having everything. It's about realizing that we still have something. And that something matters. Living alone doesn't have to mean living in silence. A small flame of connection, and a small glow of gratitude, is enough to warm your inner space. You may not be able to change the past. You may not be able to control all circumstances, but you can always choose one action today. One call, one message, one silent thank you, and that small choice slowly shapes a brighter life. Nurture connections, even if it's just one person. Train your heart to be grateful every day. And maybe you'll begin to realize something. Happiness in old age isn't about getting younger. It's not about having more. It's about appreciating what you still have. Loneliness weakens when your heart feels connected and your mind is filled with gratitude. And tonight, before you close your eyes, remember one small thing to be grateful for. Let your heart warm. Next, we'll discuss the fifth step, a step that seems simple, but has immense power to keep life meaningful. Imagine a small candle in a dark room. The candle isn't big, its light isn't dazzling, but when it's lit, the room changes, not because the room is different, but because there's light in it. As we get older, many people feel their role is over. The children are grown. The job is over. The old routine has changed. Then a silent question arises, now, what am I here for? Today, we'll gently answer that question. The meaning of life often doesn't come from what we receive. It comes from what we give. Sharing isn't always about money. It's not about big things. Sharing can be a story about a life experience. A simple piece of advice for a younger person. An old recipe filled with memories. A sincere smile to someone who looks tired. Imagine this. An elderly woman sits with her grandson. She tells him how she used to walk a long way to school. The grandson listens with sparkling eyes. To the grandmother, it's just a story. To the grandson, it's a treasure. Everyone who has lived through decades has something that younger generations don't. Experience. Experience is gold that can't be bought. And when you share it, you light a small candle in someone else's heart. Loneliness often arises when we feel no longer needed. But the truth is, the world still needs your wisdom. Maybe not the whole world. Maybe just one person. And that's enough. When we give, something happens inside us. Our hearts feel lighter. Our minds feel more alive. Imagine a flowing river. If the water stops, it becomes cloudy. If it keeps flowing, it remains clear. Our lives are like that. When we share time, stories, attention, our hearts keep flowing. And when the heart is flowing, loneliness is hard to stay. You don't need a big stage. You can be a good listener. Send a text of encouragement to a friend. Teach someone to cook. Read a story to a grandchild or a neighbor's child. Small things, but their impact is often much greater than we realize. Sometimes we think, I'm old. Nothing special. That's not true. Every line on your face is evidence of a journey. Every memory is a lesson. Every experience is light. And that light is worth sharing. Let's pause for a moment. Inhale slowly. Exhale calmly. Ask yourself, what can I share this week? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just be sincere, because oftentimes, the meaning of life isn't found. It's created, and you can still create it. We've covered 5 important things. Wake up with a small purpose every day. Treat your body like an old friend. Nurture connections, even if it's just one person. Train your heart to be grateful. Have something to share. 5 simple steps. Not complicated, not expensive. It doesn't require great strength, but if done daily, it creates a warm and meaningful life. Loneliness may come occasionally. That's human. But when life is filled with purpose, movement, connection, gratitude, and sharing, loneliness no longer dominates. You may live alone, but you still have light, and that light can still illuminate many hearts. And today, look for one small opportunity to share. Next, we'll discuss how these 5 simple steps can lay the foundation for a peaceful, strong, and meaningful life. Imagine a beautiful old house. It may not be new. The paint may be a little faded. The wood may creak gently when stepped on, but the house remains sturdy. Why? Because the foundation is strong. The same is true of life in adulthood. We may not be as strong as we once were, not as fast as we once were, not as busy as we once were, but we can remain strong. If our foundation is strong, today we're not adding new steps. Today we're putting them all together. Let's take a slow look back. First, small daily goals. It's like opening a window every morning. It lets light in. It gives direction to the day. Without small goals, the day feels empty. With small goals, the day feels alive. Small goals aren't burdens. They're a reason to get up. Second, taking gentle care of your body. Your body is your oldest traveling companion. He deserves respect. A small gesture every day is a form of gratitude to yourself. Not to become young again, but to keep feeling alive today. Third, maintain connection. One voice on the phone, one text message, one simple conversation. That's enough. Humans were not made for complete isolation. We are like little candles. Our light is warmer when we're close together. Fourth, be grateful every day. Gratitude isn't about a perfect life. Gratitude is about seeing a small light. In the midst of an ordinary day, one good thing every night. One small memory, one smile. That's enough to keep the heart warm. Fifth, have something to share. The meaning of life grows when we give. Your story, your experience, your time, it's all valuable. When you share, you not only strengthen others, you also strengthen yourself. Imagine someone who follows these 5 steps for a month. They wake up with a small purpose. She walks slowly in the morning. She calls a friend once a week. She writes down one thing she's grateful for every night. She shares stories with someone younger. Is her life suddenly perfect? No, but her mood changes. Her house may still be quiet. But her heart isn't empty. Loneliness may still come occasionally. But it doesn't linger. Because now, her life has structure. It has direction. It has warmth. Old age isn't the end. It's the harvest season. The season when we enjoy the fruits of a long journey. The season when wisdom is more important than speed. The season when stillness is more valuable than noise. You're not too late to live with meaning. You're not too old to be happy. You're not alone on this journey. And remember, loneliness isn't destroyed by noise. It's weakened by meaning. Meaning in small goals. Meaning in gentle gestures. Meaning in relationships. Meaning in gratitude. Meaning in sharing. Now, let's pause for a moment. Take a slow breath. Feel the air coming in. Feel the life within you. As long as you're still breathing. There's still a chance to give meaning to today. Living alone doesn't mean living without light. You are that light. And light doesn't need to be big to make a room feel warm. Start tomorrow morning. Just one small step. Because a peaceful life is built from small habits done with the heart. And always remember, your story isn't finished. Before you close this video, let me tell you something you may not have heard often. The world is still a better place, because you're still in it. Yes, you. Maybe your days are quieter now. Maybe your house isn't as crowded as it used to be. Maybe not as many people tell you how valuable you are. But the value of life doesn't diminish with age. The value of life doesn't diminish with gray hair. The value of life doesn't diminish just because you live alone. For some time now, we've been walking together, talking about small steps. Simple goals, gentle gestures, warm connections, gratitude, and the meaning of sharing. It's not about being young again. It's about staying alive. Imagine life like the evening sun. It's not as hot as midday, but its light is softer. More beautiful, more serene. Your age now is that evening light. Calm, wise, deep. If loneliness comes again one day, remember that you have the tools to face it. You have small goals. You have light steps. You have the ability to connect. You have a heart that can be grateful. And you have something to share. That's no small thing. That's power. And now, I want you to do one simple thing. Place your hand on your heart, and feel its beat. It's proof that your journey is still ongoing. There's still tomorrow. There's still a chance to smile. There's still someone out there who will be inspired by your story. If this message touched your heart, please help more people feel it too. Hit the like button. Share this video with friends, family, or anyone who might need it. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future heartwarming messages. Turn on the notification bell to be notified when a new video arrives. And leave a small comment below, perhaps a word about what means the most to you today. Your comment may be simple, but to someone else, it could be a beacon of light. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for opening your heart. Thank you for still choosing to grow. Always remember, you may be alone, but you are not alone. And as long as you are here, this world still has more light. Until we meet again.